What is happening, everybody? Hello and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be reacting to Noah Kahan's brand new album, The Great Divide. But we're going to be diving a little bit deeper and checking out the extended version called The Last of the Bugs. Little ominous, huh? I think what happens is if we get rid of all the bugs, if we kill all of the bugs, it throws off the entire ecosystem of the world and everything dies. But here's the thing. I'm not 100% sure because I'm not a scientist. I'm just a guy on the internet, and I might just be thinking about bees. But I think us humans as a species can at least come together and get rid of some of the bugs. Just a couple of them, like ticks and mosquitoes. Like, let's find a way to let science burn those motherfuckers to the ground. We don't need those assholes in society anymore. Praying mantises, they can stay. They're kind of cute, right? And they might be linked to aliens, so we don't want to fuck with them just in case. So anyway, those of you that have been with me for a while probably already know that I have an album reaction out there to Stick Season. That was my only real connection to Noah, was through the medium of that album. And while I generally enjoyed that album, I still felt somewhat disassociated from it because I didn't know too much about who he was personally. That was until recently when I checked out the brand new Netflix documentary on this guy, which I highly recommend. I have my own reaction to that and the deeper dive on the album on my Patreon. But if you wanted to check out the actual documentary with Noah, it's on Netflix right now. Highly recommend it. And it gave me a lot of insights. It gave me insights into his interactions and his relationships with his family and his fiance. And it was really cool. And his friends. It was really cool to see him on a different and deeper and personable level. It made me kind of feel for the guy. And it reminded me of home. It's such a taste of New England. And that's where I'm from. You know, just seeing the characters in this documentary, I'm like, all right, everybody knows a guy like that. Everybody's got a friend and a neighbor like that. It was just really cool to see. It gave me some more context as to what kind of happened to him after sixth season. Like, what was he doing? How much was he touring? Which is crazy, spoiler alert, and where it's leaving us off to now. But Sixth Season, as an album, kind of, in my opinion, left us off on a bit of a cliffhanger. He is finally escaping his own agoraphobia. He is venturing out into the world. He's escaping this town, these characters. He's doing something he's never done before. And while this is incredibly frightening for him and giving him tremendous anxiety, at the same time, it's also very exciting. And that's where we left off with Stick Season. I'm excited to see where The Great Divide takes us. This extended version, I believe, is like 21 or 22 tracks, and it's almost 2 hours long. So we're going to be here for a little bit. So let's buckle up, let's get into it, and let's check out Noah Kahan's brand new album. So peaceful.
Richie and Austin are often along for the ride. They don't say a lot, but they know every inch of this drive. These trees started talking, I bet you they'd only talk shit. 'Cause we never do anything real, we just talk about it. Ending of August, the bugs are just starting to die. All the neighbors are voting for someone who wins every time. But I thought getting older meant no, it's too late to try. I tried getting sober, I swear I did better this time.
dramatic layering.
Oh, everything you see out here will die. Oh, it's a matter of time till it's fields of ice and reflector lights till it's our town. And anything you need, I will provide. Ride home or an alibi. I know the traffic light you can speed right by, 'cause the camera's down. And I follow New York plates through the county. I know them when they wave on 89. And if that September hits, I'm going off my medicine. Oh, late August stains and a pointless night. Oh, the feeling of being alive for the first time in a long time.
All right, here it is, the end of August, the album opener. And I gotta say, I really enjoy the way this opens up. It opens up in such a calming and chill way. Just hearing like the bugs and everything, it just reminds me of dusk in New England, you know, especially being in the woods and just hearing all the insects and everything kind of all around you. It comes alive, but there's something very calming and relaxing about that to me. And then layer that in with the piano, which is kind of very, I guess, dreamy is the best way to describe how it is. It comes across in a very innocent way. I don't want to say whimsical because it doesn't feel too playful, but there is a certain innocence to it. Probably due to like the sustain and just like the flutter of the keys, I suppose. But really cool. And the track builds sonically in a very cool and interesting way. What feels like it's going to be a deconstructed track with not a whole lot going on, but in reality, there's a shit ton of layering in all of this. Even coming from the drums, which is cool. They switched out the snare sound towards the end. Some of my favorite parts are the organ that was just underneath the entirety of it, how it kind of just builds and swells and kind of brings the whole thing to life and gives us some atmosphere and widens up the space, you know, especially once the bug sounds disappear, because that's what's really giving us space in that atmosphere. It's making it seem like we're in this outdoor environment. And then slowly it kind of like creeps in, which is, you know, a little damning. You know, he does this a lot in his music where he gives us these wide open spaces sonically and then invites us back into this very closed environment, which feels deeply personal, but at the same time also a little claustrophobic at times. But I think this was great because he layered that in with the organ transforming out from the bug sound. So we kept this space moving the entire way through. So sonically, yeah, I think this is really cool. And it just builds in such a cool and natural way where it feels like we're really just starting something out. Like the movie is starting, we're opening the first page of the book and we're like led to this place. Now, lyrically, it seems like, oh, I should probably talk about the guitars too. The guitar was awesome. That tone was fucking cool as shit. the driving factor on it and everything, there was so much drive and like distortion, but it was still so clean. And then it was layered in such a way where it sounded like almost like somewhat synthetic. It's gonna be interesting to see how this one sounds live. I'm wondering how they're gonna pull this one off. It's gonna be an exact representation of the album, or if they're gonna do some other kind of cool trickery or whatnot. So this feels like kind of a return to form. And I suppose it is if we like kind of look lyrically at what this is, because I'm assuming what this is about is a return to home and kind of settling back into the familiar, something he's actually deeply familiar with. He's lived in this place. And the message that he has is there's so much of this that he remembers and he knows and he loves and like he's lived and, you know, maybe spent too much time in. At the same time, he also has a bit of a warning about this place that nothing stays the same forever, which was a huge theme within Styx season, you know, seeing how certain things changed and like bigger stores and things got a little bit more corporate in some places. And the small town vibe in some ways kind of died when other bigger things kind of came into play. So it feels like that. And from the documentary, I don't want to give too many things away. In fact, if you haven't seen the documentary, maybe you should just click off this video because I'm going to be referencing a lot of what he said in the documentary on this album reaction. So sorry, I probably should tell you about that now. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it. At the end of the documentary, he's deciding that he's moving back home anyway. He's like, you know, I tried living out in Nashville for a bit. I tried like doing what I'm supposed to do. And this is something that's resonated with me in the Boston area where I'm from. A lot of people that were in my position, musicians and whatnot, a lot of my friends that wanted to make in the industry with film, music, or acting, or whatever, obviously they go out to LA. And a lot of my friends did. And they obviously, it's a very different vibe out there. And everything is kind of all about the analytics. And it's all about, you know, how well you're doing and how's your even your IMDb page and all that stuff. Like it's all about that. Like that's all people care about. It's very like career driven. And something that Noah deeply missed was just how slow moving and how real life can be out in Vermont, you know? And it's true. It's 100% true. So at the end of the documentary, he decides that he's moving back home anyway, because he was having trouble writing out in these places like Nashville. And Nashville is obviously very different than LA, trust me. It's a lot cooler. It's still very different and it's still very like career orientated and everything. So he wanted to go back home because he felt like he could probably write from a place that maybe felt a little bit more natural, and even went into one of his old studios and with his old band teacher and everything. And the music started kind of fluttering out of him, which was a huge concern that I had for Noah, because with Styx season, everything felt so real. Everything was so vividly like personal and like, so like it felt like a very honest record for like not only himself, but like the place that he was describing and everything. And I wanted to hear what it'd be like for him to be outside of this place that was so comfortable is not the right word. So accustomed to, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't always comfortable to be in this place. But after all that, everything that we went through with Styx season, he still decided to return home. After seeing it all, 200 plus shows, like after being everywhere, he decided the place that he needed to be was at home. So this, to me, this song feels like, hey, I'm returning home. I'm gliding home. And in some aspects, sonically, it feels kind of hopeful, but lyrically, it's telling a story of somebody returning home and returning to some, maybe not to the habits that he had before. I don't know just yet. We'll have to dig more into the album, but at least returning more into, you know, recognizing things from the past, you know, the places that he spent a lot of time in, recognizing those plates traveling through, seeing how things die, that it feels like this is going to be the same forever, because you'll see these giant trees that have been around for longer than America's existed. But at the same time, they could be cut down tomorrow and a supermarket could be put there, you know, so, or a department store or whatever. So it feels hopeful in one angle, but it also feels like it comes with a warning. Like he knows he's going back to a place that brought him great misery, but he's hoping that with his new perspective, it can also bring him some more comfort in his day-to-day life, and interactions can be a little bit more real. Lyrically, that's my take on this whole thing. That's what I'm kind of getting. Even getting back with like Richie and all that stuff, like kind of like just like old friends. I forget the name of his siblings. He could be talking about driving with his siblings, but it just reminds me of like also just like kind of seeing old friends and getting back into old habits, you know, like going and hanging out and doing some of the same things we did like when we were in high school sometimes. Like, oh, we're just driving down the same roads we went to, going to the same restaurants, going out for the same thing, going to the same cities for the same kind of events and everything, where you're like, okay, we'll talk about things and we think things will change, but we're really just creating plans and everything. And that's just like the day-to-day life of some of those relationships. It's not negative, it's not bad. It's just kind of the way it is with some people. But yeah, he's seeing it all. He's traveling home. It seems somewhat optimistic. There is a touch of melancholy to all of this, just from the minor key and the piano. And then vocally, I think he does a great job. There's a lot of really cool layering on his voice, especially here for this part. It's interesting. So his like what I guess we'll call a variation of like a hymn here. So it feels like vaguely kind of religious. It has at least 4 different layering tracks, but they kind of only come in halfway through the phrasing, which is interesting, and they finish off. Yeah, that's nice. It builds some real momentum too in such a sparse way.
Everything you see out here will die. Oh, it's a matter of time till it's fields of ice and reflector lights till it's our town. And anything you need, I will provide.
All right, so it's a lot of doubling up on the vocals as well. So it's cool. It provides a lot of separation and a lot more dramatic intensity on the vocal itself, which is kind of cool. Again, he's doing a lot of things too with the traffic lights, talking about the towns, the reflecting lights and stuff. He's got a way of writing which is really cool. Where it really comes down to just good storytelling, honestly, where he super focuses on one specific angle of a thing, a reflection light, a license plate, a tree, a road, a hill, whatever the case may be. And there's just so much emphasis on that one thing that he's talking about that like you can't help but imagine when you've seen that one thing yourself. Obviously, it's not the same exact thing unless it's a license plate, but like a tree or whatever. Like if he keeps talking about a tree or keeps like emphasizing on a certain inanimate object, like you inadvertently start to think about that yourself and like one that just comes to your mind. And in doing so, it comes back into great storytelling. You're personally visualizing that. You're visualizing your own tree, your own hill, your own whatever. And you start to kind of put this into motion. But yeah, overall, I like it, man. I think that the track's definitely got some movements, got some real fluidity to it. The build is fantastic. The tone on the guitar is awesome. Real awesome atmospheric space coming from the organ. And the vocals are really awesome on this one. So cool. A true return to form. But I'm excited to see where we go from here. What's next?
I grew up pretending sticks were little guns. I would point them at my dad and he'd get mad, 'cause God forbid I hurt someone. I'd hurt anyone I could, anyone who got too close and anyone who wouldn't look. I was born into a 100-year storm, foot of ass across Vermont, and in that dark and in that frost the heart was born, malcontented and unworn. You were unsuspecting, not unwarned, that I'm the trouble ahead, that I scream in my sleep. You put the money on red and we'll sure bet at a losing streak. I keep showing you doors, but you can't open them up, 'cause it gets harder to see me the closer you try to look. I just live fear, babe, but you're the one who decided to not, you know. Have you ever stared directly at the sun? Have you ever shared some closeness so exposed to have it spit back by someone? So forgive me if I jump at the rattle of your keys. Or are you leaving? No, babe, I'm just waking up. Now what? I'm not staring at the ceiling, listing reasons you should pack all your shit up. I'm the trouble ahead, that I scream in my sleep. You put the money on red, but so bad at a losing streak. I keep showing you doors, but you can't open them up, 'cause it gets harder to see me the closer you try to look. I'll be only what you've known of me till now. Oh, how I hope you're moving on from the trouble ahead. Had a scream in my sleep, putting money on red. You were so bad, losing the street. I keep showing you doors, but you can't open them up, 'cause she gets harder to see me the closer you try to look. I just live for you, babe, but you're the one. I just live for you, babe, but you're the one. I just live for you, babe, but you're the one.
Oh, there it is, Doors. I thoroughly enjoyed this track. Let's talk about it because this is full on Americana at its best, and I'm here for it, man. Outside of that, it's also riddled with self-destruction and a lot of anxieties from things we've learned from his past. And obviously, the feeling that he gets with the inability to hold on to some relationships, whether that's his own fault or not, but it's just a fact of life, man. Sometimes people, you know, they move on. They've got other things to do. And unfortunately, there's just been people in his past that has hurt him. And now he just kind of lives with that specific trauma. And it affects every single one of his relationships. He's explaining to us that, like, why he might get a little jumpy, why he might get a little skittish about hearing the car keys or about seeing people move on in a certain way, because people close to him have moved on and abandoned him and ghosted him in ways that's made him feel kind of worthless. And when he's there and he's in this moment with people, like I don't know if he's referred to it this way or not. I can't remember, but I've often pictured his writing style of him being in these situations and writing from the perspective of a ghost. He may have said this, or maybe I just came up with it my own, but like everything is kind of happening around him. He's seeing people that are truly occupying spaces, living in spaces, having, you know, real connections, having healthier emotions and things like that. And he's almost an observer, seeing it all from the outside. And it sucks because it makes him feel less than. It makes him feel like, you know, at a moment's notice, people will just be like, all right, well, I'm done with you and I'm going to move on. And no relationships he's going to hold is going to be real and lasting. But I also want people to know, another spoiler alert in the documentary, like he does seem to be in a very healthy relationship with a fiance right now that, like, she seems super cute. And like, it seems like they've got a real thing going on right now. And I'm like super happy for him because it's from the outside, at least from that documentary, it looks like it's going to be a healthy place. And I feel like a girl like this is going to do wonders for a man like Noah, because I found a girl like that too, you know, with my own insecurities, my own issues and things like that. And just having somebody to remind you that, like, okay, this is okay, that this is happening, that we're in this position. You're not, everything that's going on in your head right now is just in your head. That's not real life. You are not just a ghost. You are occupying the space as well. You're not just an observer. You're an active contributor to life. Sometimes you just need someone to be able to, you need a partner, you know, someone that's with you through thick and thin. And I mean, it seems like he found that with this girl. So I'm like super happy for him. And I hope some of these songs that he's talking about, this album, I hope are devoted to her, because it seems like she's the one. She said like she'd be totally happy with him just playing small shows and her being a teacher and them just, you know, living a quiet, simple life. And it just so happened that he just happened to blow up. And that's the situation that they're in right now. But let's go back to talking about some of like the storytelling and about how he kind of opens songs up and makes things think, because right off the bat here, it starts off with a bang and immediately brought me back to a place of my own. The first line is, I grew up pretending sticks were little guns. Maybe little girls don't do this, or maybe some do, but I think most little boys, you know, when we get together, you know, we're kids and we're out and we're using our imaginations and playing in the woods. You pick up sticks and you play guns. Like, I don't know. I'm just pretty sure most of us as children have done that. And it immediately brought me back to a place, and like a core memory was opened and unlocked, and something like that happened in my life that I haven't thought about for years, for decades. And it's this moment where I was out playing with friends, and as a child, and it's so crazy. This thought has not crossed my mind for years. It happened, and I probably never thought of it again. But I must have been a little kid playing guns, and we were shooting around. And we used to have a neighbor that had 2 German shepherds, and they'd come out and they'd play in the woods with us. And I remember like we'd be playing with the guns, with the sticks and everything. And I remember I pointed it at the dog. And the dog would just kind of look at me like funny, like, are you going to throw that stick? Are we playing fetch? Like, what's going on? And I'd be like, you know, making the noise and everything. And I remember the dog stopped, like it gave me a serious look, and it started growling at me. And that kind of freaked me out, because these were German shepherds and they were obviously bigger than I was, or, you know, they could kill me if they wanted to. And it was letting me know like, hey, don't fuck around like that. Don't threaten to kill me. And I thought it was so fascinating, even from a young child, that like the dog could comprehend that I didn't have a gun. I couldn't do any real damage with it, but the thought that I was having of using a gun on this dog as a child that wasn't a real thing that could hurt it still made the dog upset, and it wanted to let me know that. And I was like, wow, like this dog knows that like this stick is supposed to be a gun. And I don't know why I'm thinking about it or even talking about it right now, outside of the fact that like that's what comes down to good storytelling. Even though that's not exactly what, I guess it is kind of what he's saying here in the lyrics, because his dad is saying, I wouldn't point it at my dad because he's get mad because God forbid I hurt somebody with it. His dad knew, like, obviously that wasn't a gun. He wouldn't hurt someone with it, but like we shouldn't celebrate the idea of killing each other with guns, even as like when you're children, you know, like you can go and you can play, and boys are gonna be boys and kids will be kids, I should say. And they're gonna go and do that. But it is important to have somebody there to tell you like, hey, you're just having fun right now, but just know like you shouldn't be celebrating the idea of killing somebody. You know, don't be thinking like that, you know. You need that mentor in your life. And at the time, Noah had his dad. For me, it was that dog in the woods, but they both understood fundamentally the same thing, and it upset them. Great storytelling, you know, taking you in a place of music and bringing you to a different place. He's talking about kind of just some of the relationships that he's had and feeling a little less than other people. You know, he's been hurt before, and he's been in this position before, that like he understands that this might and probably will happen again. Whether there's any truth to that or it's just his inner anxieties, I don't know. I tend to not think so, because after seeing his interactions with people, like, well, one, I should say, he seems incredibly funny. He seems like a funny guy. But he also seems like a very sincere and honest like person. And when you're talking to him, he like looks you in the eye, and like he's not waiting for you to stop talking so he can say what he has to say. Like he's generally interested in you. That's the foundations of what makes a good relationship, you know, a good friend. You guys ever have friends like that like you're talking to, and like you can see like their eyes are glazing over, and like, oh, you're just waiting for your turn to talk here. Like, what is this? What is this interaction we're having right now? I'll just let you talk. Like that's what I always do. I'm real good at being quiet, and I'll let people go on forever. And I, in some cases, have made a career out of it. Yeah, but yeah, it's just, that's what it feels like to me. I think he's got some natural anxieties about people leaving and being kind of skittish about the whole thing. But I suppose the whole thing is just the fear of abandonment.
I was working on a plan to disappear completely. Cast out of my friends and thinking I was busy, 'cause if drinking was a day job, I'd be asking for more money. I'll never take a day off, and I'm always selling something. And like your plates for CB3A, didn't know you drove American cars. Ray-Bans in your face, you've been driving all day, but you're here and we're so grateful you are. 'Cause you're gonna fix it, you're gonna patch it up. 'Cause honey, we're fragile, you've always been so tough.
Love the tone.
Miss you always come running back whenever I ask, and I had to drag you back here, but I think he's really lost
Wait.
it. He's been sitting on the porch, oh, acting like a prophet. 6'4", CB3A, didn't know he drove American cars. Ray-Bans in your face, you've been driving all day, but you're home and I'm so grateful you are. 'Cause you're gonna fix it, you're gonna patch it up. Honey, we're fragile, you've always been so tough. You know that I missed you.
I think this is my favorite. Brother. Maybe a sibling, I don't know. American Cars. All right. So far, this one might be my absolute favorite lyrically and sonically. Again, total Americana folk rock kind of thing happening here sonically. But yeah, no, beautiful, beautiful song. I'm going to cut to the chase here. I think he's talking about one of his siblings kind of coming home and him being in a place of kind of spiraling out a little bit. I don't know if you've been in this place. I have. Just kind of drinking all day. Like it's your job and just like everything kind of being the same. I bet you a lot of us can relate to this, like during COVID times. During COVID, I mean, I don't know, maybe you guys were more healthy than I was, but for the first couple of weeks there, like I was just doing a lot of drinking and a lot of staying at home and like doing the same kind of thing over and over. And like everything kind of stopped and spiraling out with the news and everything. But after a while, the days became the same, the weeks became the same. And like my wife's a nurse, so she was working during the whole pandemic, but I was not. I was just kind of at home. And it was the first time in a while where I was just starting to spend more time outside of work and just living with myself. And I didn't exactly know how to deal with myself. So I just drank a lot. Like you just wake up and then you just like kind of nurse your hangover for a little bit and then start over. And it'd go on like that for weeks. I'm sure a lot of you were like a lot more healthier than I was, but I was not. That's how I was living there for, geez, I mean, I did it for a while, for months. And, you know, I look forward to my wife coming home and fixing things and like bringing me back out of reality and like recentering me and just something different for the day. And this to me feels like such an awesome, like kind of like love song and like the way you love a sibling. So I believe that he's talking, I don't know which one of his siblings he's talking about, a sibling coming home and him being just so happy that whichever one he's talking about is there, maybe all of them, and like fantasizing about and thinking about it and being so happy they're there and things are going to get better just because they are there and just generally happy because of it. And that's why, like, I feel like this guy doesn't give himself enough credit. I feel like he doesn't give himself enough credit as, like, just as somebody that, like, people love. Because people love people like that. People love honesty and, like, people that are actually excited to have other people there. It's something that, like, I feel like with us being so disconnected and disassociated from each other just from the way things are, I don't know, it's kind of a rarity, you know? But yeah, so to me, this is just kind of a beautiful song. And honestly, vocally strongest, this might be one of his stronger vocal performances on this. Still a touch of layering here and there, but it's a lot cleaner. Awesome layering on the instrumentation as well. Like, we're getting in the folk vibe thing of things here as far as like, it's always going to be folky. It's Noah Kahan, but like we're leaning a little bit more into country here and there. I'm hearing a little bit of slide guitar and things like that, but not too much of it. I've got like a pet peeve with country music. And this is probably going to upset some people, but like whenever I hear that slide guitar, it just kind of irritates me. But when it's used in just a slight variant, when it's used as just like a transitional instrument and it's used as just we're moving on to the next part kind of thing, it's like a crescendo almost, then it becomes less annoying. But for whatever reason, like country music, you listen to it and it's just there every couple seconds, just reminding you're listening to a country song. It's like, we know the guy's talking about, his fucking truck. We get it. It's just overused in music, so I'm always very apparent to it. Again, focusing on inanimate objects, things that like wouldn't really mean too much, like the license plate thing here, and is memorizing the actual license plate numbers on this. That's kind of interesting. Whoever it is, he's got great respect for. He admires and is like seen as almost a hero that's going to come home and fix everything, and it's going to make everything whole again. And I thought maybe it was a friend, or I thought maybe it was a fantasy until we got down to this line.
We're drowning here. I gotta stay for mom.
We got to stay for mom. So it's obviously about a sibling. It sucks when people move on. It sucks when like life moves on and it feels like everything's moving on without you, and you compare yourself to others and like the success of other people, and like, but you compare yourself to the Joneses, and it's, I don't know. And everything feels sometimes like it's moving on and moving around you, and you're just kind of staying put. I think everybody feels that way. I think it's some of the reasons why people resonate with his music. Maybe you're not living his exact story. You haven't, lived his exact life, but there's a lot of themes through his music that are very touching and reminiscent to probably what you're dealing with. And I know that I've experienced that with this music. Downfall. Oh boy.
Something about the window seats got you feeling like a poet. You said, I think that we had everything until now, just didn't know it. I'm leaning towards a subject change in a sentimental moment. We're driving through the Garden State, we'll be strangers in the morning. The way you got your hair up straight makes you look real Californian. You know you never really could quite place when I'm angry and I'm joking. I'm cursing every exit sign of my damn Christ-like devotion, to hoping you might change your mind and to hating you for going. Roadkill fawn, you said how sad, left you brought alone like that. You stayed feeling like a fact. I'm glad you left, but you'll be back. So call me when it goes to shit. I'll be keeping the house the way it was. I won't rub your face in it. I swear I won't tell anyone. I don't mind being your dead end. You think it's fine to never move on. Keep my ear up to the door frame, and I'll keep rooting for your downfall.
Jesus.
I'll keep rooting for your downfall. Call me when the bugs don't die and the spring looks just like autumn. Or tell me when you miss the climb from a hole that has no bottom. I'm hoping that the view ain't nice, that the street lights bleed into your bedroom, that you open up to someone kind and they hold it all against you. Roadkill fawn, you said how sad, left you all alone like that. You stayed a feeling like a fact. I'm glad you left, but you'll be back.
He's coping.
So call me when it goes to shit. I'll be keeping the house the way it was. I won't rub your face in it. I swear I won't tell anyone. I don't mind being your dead end. I think it's fine to never move on. I'll keep my ear to the door frame, and I'll keep rooting for your downfall. I'll keep rooting for your downfall. and keeping the house the way it was. I won't rub your face in it. Swear I won't tell anyone. I don't mind being your tenant. I think it's fine to never move on. I'll keep my ear up to the door frame, and I'll keep rooting for your downfall. And I'll keep rooting for your downfall. I'll keep rooting for your downfall. Oh, I keep rooting for your downfall.
I guess at its core, it's about I guess, toxic relationship, kind of. But I think mostly it's about coping and coming to the realization that like something is ending and kind of finding ways to make sense to you. To me, it sounds like somebody's driving him back home and going to be going back out to New York or whatever. So about maybe like an ex-lover or something. The conflicting emotions of all of that, and kind of like being in a place where you're like, okay, I think we both know that this relationship is about to end, and how like there's sometimes some like spinning and racing thoughts with coming to that. You know, it's, I don't know if you've ever been at like the downfall of a relationship, and it's like 1 second you're like, all right, this is the best thing. I'm going to get out of this thing. I'm going to be free from all of this. I'm going to start over. I'm going to be a different person. And you know, the next second you're like, what am I doing? I'm going to be losing the person that I love. And like, you have these crazy conflicting and racing thoughts. And that's what this entire song kind of feels like. It feels like I hope you kind of change your mind. You know, I hope we can get through this. I'm going to keep it, you know, just the way it was, and I'll be nice and everything. You know, we'll go back to the way things were. Let's just go back to the way things were. Just like almost like a pleading and a begging, but at the same time also kind of being upset by all of this, you know, like saying like, well, I hope you don't like it out there anyway. I hope you don't find peace. I hope you're, you know, in a position it's negative for you, and you know, people hurt you because you're hurting me right now. And it's such a weird stack of emotions at the end of a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, especially like if you've been with somebody for a while and like you're just like both kind of conflicted about the way things are at that moment and then the way they go. And like, I don't know, we must have all, I mean, mostly everybody watching this has probably been in a relationship. When you've been in these relationships and you've had these conflicting emotions, it feels exactly like this song. And this to me just feels like a really awkward and a really emotionally turbulent drive home. And they're both trying to be kind of cordial with each other, and they're recognizing differences in them because your personality shifts, you know, like you ever like immediately talk to an ex like a couple days after you've broken up or whatever, and it's like you're talking to a different person, like they're very sharp and cold with you, and like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I'm assuming most people watching this have been in that kind of situation, and it feels like it's kind of explaining that. So he's on this car ride home, and like he's like seeing the way that she's driving, and like they're in the silence, and like they see roadkill and everything, and she's like more about, oh, that's sad that that's happening, but like there's no emotion behind it, like that's being very cold or whatever. And like he's like, I know you'll see us again after you drop me off and go back to New York. Yeah, it's just kind of sad that he has to be like so upset about all this, but then at the same time also being like, you know what, if you are willing to be with a dead end like me, you know, I'll keep my ear to the door frame. You know, I'll be here waiting for you. I'll just stay still while you keep moving. And maybe one day you'll decide that you want to be still as well, and you'll come back to me. You know, he's willing to put his life on hold. He won't change a thing. You know, I think he's upset. He's angry at her for this. But at the same time, I think he also like some of his like natural depressive like tendencies like are helping him say like, okay, I understand this. Of course she's leaving you. Why would she stay with you? Of course, just like everybody else, they're going to abandon you. And it's just sad. I don't know exactly what relationship he's talking about or what happened when. It seems like so far, a couple of the songs on this album have been kind of almost in the era of where Styx Season was. And he's still kind of talking about that era, from like stewing at home, you know, and waiting for his sibling to come home and fix everything, to this relationship. So we're not getting too much of like what's happened after Styx Season. We're getting, so far at least, there's a lot of tracks on this album. I'm just saying so far it seems like we're getting more of that era of his life. I like the song, but it's kind of a lot to take in, and kind of takes you to a place it's a little bit dark. It's like it's so iffy, you know? It's so weird to have somebody that like you love still, because nobody ever just like breaks up and immediately doesn't love them unless they like wronged them in some, I don't know. I don't think that happens. I don't think that we have the ability to immediately just stop loving somebody. No matter how much they hurt you, no matter what happens, they could cheat on you, they could do whatever. Like, I don't think we have the option to have an off switch of like, I don't love you anymore. But having someone talk to you in a certain way that you love, that's cold, is so dehumanizing, and it feels so bad, and it's just, oh my God, even like thinking about it, it's been years since that's happened to me. Like it takes me back to those places, and it's like, oh shit, I hope that never happens again. It better not happen again. It'll never happen again. I won't do anything stupid.
Turning your house into a parking lot. One more outfitter store that only the tourists want. In the corner of town that just you and time forgot. Sit where your couch was, say go ahead and call the cops. Feeding the flightless birds on the pier.
That's beautiful.
Hoping you might return the foreground here. Don't look out at the wreckage of you. For as long as there's light, for as long as you last, I curse them all out when they fuck up your story. Tell it the way that you told me. You were born with a face made for a missing sign. But you had something misplaced that you'd spend your life trying to find. Still hear your name, some of the local guys said they always praised you for the leaving type. But I look out at the wreckage of you. For as long as there's light, for as long as you last, I curse them all out when they fuck up your story. I tell it the way that you told me. I called the lighthouse and hope you're there in the morning, burning your boat back to the ocean.
That's different. Is that Noah? Wow, that was haunting, but undeniably beautiful. This is gorgeous. Lighthouse, this is gonna be another one of my favorites on this album. I mean, even just from like a perspective of just like sonically what is happening here. It's just beautiful. It's moving, and Noah sounds incredible on this one. But we're returned to a place here with something that he did a lot with Stick Season as well, and that's about being in a certain place and him hating to see that thing change. And obviously, someone moved on, and now they're turning their house into a department store of some kind, and nobody even in the town cares about it. It's just something there to attract the tourist, and this is just something that is very Americana. I think we can all kind of relate to this stuff. It sucks seeing stuff like that, going back to your hometown and kind of seeing how things have changed. I know kind of when I do, my town's still kind of small where I grew up, but there's definitely some attractions and things that have tried to bring some people in, and it's like, oh, well, that's used to be a plot of woods back there by a reservoir that we'd play in, and oh, now it's just this store. Okay, it's kind of sad. You mourn them in your own ways, and it wasn't so much about mourning, this person's house. It was more about mourning the memories that they had there, and they've moved on, and he's still just hoping that she'll come back, or whoever it is will come back, and they can live in that memory again and live in that place. He holds on to memories in such a way, in such a vivid way, that like you can't help but like feel for, and it just makes you think about how life is just ever moving and changing, and most of it's positive. You have to focus on the positive, because if you constantly focus on the negative, it'll drive you down. You have to find ways to be grateful and be happy and everything. But this tells a story of the change, and we get a lot of this on Stick Season with him talking about stores popping up and different areas that used to be something special to him, and you have a special memory there, and now it's just this vacant parking lot, or a department store, and there's no personality or life to it. And that's just kind of the way it is with these stores anyway. They're all gray. There's no life. There's no bright colors. There's no like anything that distinguishes it from something else. It's all basically the same font on the logos. It's nothing is like special or eye-popping anymore. Everything is gray. I don't know why we did that. Everybody just said, you know what, let's make everything gray and beige, and it's going to be great. I don't know whose idea that was, but someone started that trend, and now everything's the same thing. This isn't so much about losing that place where you had those memories. It's about the person. And he's saying, I've always known that you were going to move on. You were going to leave. You have a face for a missing sign. Like, I saw this coming. And this is something that he constantly reiterates in his music. He's like, okay, I know the end is near. I know nothing lasts forever. I know everything eventually dies. And I'm just finding ways to cope with it and finding ways to deal with it in my own way, so it's not as devastating for me when it finally does happen. Because he's had a couple instances where like he's been dealing with abandonment. It's just been traumatizing to him. Not to talk about the documentary again, but something else I learned from this documentary that I did not know before is that Noah is a middle child, and middle child syndrome is a real thing. I know people kind of make fun of it, and they're like, "Oh, middle child," like it's kind of a thing. And I've never known it. I've always been the oldest, but middle child syndrome, it's a real thing. You're kind of in the middle of everything, and like from what it seems like is like your time in the sun is kind of cut a little short. Like I remember like being the only child, and then like, oh, I got a brother now. Oh, some of the attention's going over there, and then I was kind of used to it by the time I got another brother. And I got shit tons of brothers. All right. You probably know one of my brothers. There's a lot of us out there. All right. My family's be multiplying. We'd be fucking. But what I'm trying to get at is when you're the middle child, it's like you're kind of at that in-between thing. You got somebody that's already there and then a new one, and your time in the sun is kind of cut short. You're the time where you're basked upon and everything, and people just constantly are moving on and moving, and stability seems to be kind of an issue for some of those people that are in those positions. Again, it's not a position I know, but it's something I've kind of can see, and I try to put myself in these people's positions and just imagine what it feels like for them. And learning that Noah was a middle child and seeing his family move on and how things change, it's quite different. Because when I left my family unit, I was the first one to leave, obviously. First one to go out and go on my own and leave. And I did it from a pretty young age too, because I was traveling with music stuff. So I think my brothers were kind of used to it. But now it's kind of different. It's definitely different. The dynamic changes. And I'd give anything to like go back to the way that things were. Go back to like the simpler times where we just have simple dinners together as a family that I found boring, and I couldn't wait to be back out doing what I like to do. You know, I'd give up 1,000,000 of those shitty tours that paid me nothing, that brought me nothing, just to go back to the simplicity of having everybody all together at one table and in that setting and in that way of life before the internet, essentially, and, you know, go back to all of that. It's a lot of reminiscing. It's a lot of that, but he knew that this person was going to leave, and he's just watching this whole thing get, you know, torn apart, her house get torn apart. He's there worried about it. He's there like feeling about it. And this person has already moved on. They're not thinking about that old place where they drank beers anymore. They're not thinking about that. They're at a different point in their life. And then there's Noah just watching this whole thing happen, this whole thing get erased. Undeniably a beautiful song.
I called you, but I'd run out of words. So I stared at the plastic, colliding with dirt. At the fast food, sign out in them. I prepared for the warfare with a voice in my head. And I thought it was strange how the letters replaced, how the hiring sign seemed to laugh in my face. If you were here, you'd make a joke of it. I'm alone, getting lost in the scope of it. I see you driving, and your love is like an open flame on a burning car, your closed garage. Someone once told us there's a world out there, but we don't care enough to drive that far. It's been a damn near perfect day, just getting high at the outlet mall. Cause people grow up and they move away, but you don't care and I don't mind at all. I got the car, you got the bag, a handwritten note there for mom and dad, a police scanner bouncing on the dash, a cup of burnt coffee and a check to cash. I had the brains for a city job, but you got the taste of a county cop. A pack of cigarettes sent around to golf, make a living working for the paid time off. Such simple lines they drew to make this place. In the interest of time, we got a whole lot to waste. And your love is like an open flame, I'm a burning car and you're a closed garage. Someone once said there's a world out there, but we don't care enough to drive that far. It's been a damn near perfect day, just getting high at the outlet mall. People grow and they move away, but you don't care and I don't mind at all. You don't care and I don't mind at all. I got the car, you got the bag, a handwritten note there for mom and dad, a police scanner bouncing on the dash, a cup of burnt coffee and a check to cash. I had the brains for a city job, but you got the taste of a county cop, a pack of cigarettes sent around to golf, make a living working for the paid time off.
All right, this one's fun, and I think this one he's definitely talking about his brother. There's this really cool, sweet interaction, and I think I know exactly which one he's talking about. I don't remember his name, but one of his brothers was like working on some kind of like blacksmithing thing, and he was just super chill. And I think Noah kind of envies that. Like, he's still a hometown boy. He's totally fine with it. He's just working or whatever. And he was even laughing at the joke of like, hey, we just kind of made fun of him for his silly, sad songs. And well, here I am still working on this job and he's out there traveling the world. So whatever. But like there was like love and admiration in what he was saying. Like he was happy for him and everything. Noah and him I think they were shotgunning beers actually and just joking around and having like brotherly conversation. It was just really sweet. It was endearing to see, you know what I mean? And I think Noah, he's kind of jealous of this because his brother has obviously seen a lot of the same things Noah has seen people move on and travel to different points and get out of this place and get on to bigger and better things possibly. But he doesn't care. He's like, yeah, whatever. Just live my life here. Like some people are just happy with this simple life. I know I am. I don't care. And I think it's something that's like he finds endearing about him. He's like, I wish that I could just like not care like that and be like, oh, just happy for him or whatever. But to Noah, it's just a little bit more devastating. He takes it almost like more personal, you know? But his brother doesn't. But I also think there's some lines here that are alluding to sometimes they don't mix. As much as they were having a good time during that scene in the documentary, where's the line here? Let's see if I can find it. You're a garage and I'm a running car. It was something like that. You know, when you mix those two things together, I think, you know, he's alluding to you can kill yourself with carbon monoxide. So I think like he was saying that there is some issues sometimes between the two of them. And like sometimes they don't always gel together. But he's just kind of celebrating this guy's life, saying, you know, I wanted to do something different. I had the brains for a big city job and you have the taste of a country cop. You know, you're just embracing this lifestyle. And I think Noah is too, definitely now. And I knew this when he said a handwritten note left from mom and dad. So yeah. So this is definitely him talking about that. Yeah, pretty good song. And it's cool to switch up there, how it turns into like a more kind of like dance along kind of thing. I think it's kind of neat. So yeah, this one's all right. This one's pretty good. Might as well just go down there. Digging the melody on this one.
We drank and I convinced you that the wildfire smog was the northern lights. Lately I've been looking at you harder, just taking you in. At the callus on your finger from the handbrake grip on your junkyard bike.
It's cool, it's offbeat.
Boots so filled with water, I mean soaking wet. But you could punch me in the gut, and it wouldn't hurt like watching you grow smaller on the back road. And I never asked for much, but I hope that Logan crumbles and gets hit by a tornado. Oh, I can't keep on starting over, sleeping in a bed half empty, daydreaming. Our love must be open search for it. I will, honey. Tell me, are you good staying still? Are you good at staying still? Oh, where will you up and leave? Will you be there in the morning? I always say to the sunlight, 3 p.m. It's too soon to quit thinking, too late to change anything. I'm racking my brain for the one line that would change your mind. Showing you plane crashes online couldn't hurt to try. But the Charles meets the sun, and the Harvard track team runs past my truck, stuck on Starro. And I never asked for much, but I hope that Logan crumbles and gets hit by a tornado.
You just look at
'Cause I can't keep on starting over, sleeping in a bed half empty, daydreaming. Our love must leave open search for it. I will, honey. Tell me, are you good at staying still, honey? Tell me, are you good at staying still?
ominous.
I'll be good, I'll be fine. I can laugh about it. I try to keep on starting over. Sleeping in a bed half empty, daydreaming. All love must leave. Hope it search for it. I will, honey. Tell me, are you good at staying still? Are you good at staying still? Are you good at staying still? Oh, where will you up and leave? Will you be there in the morning?
All right, easily one of the most exciting tracks on this album so far, and I gotta believe that he might be talking about his fiance, or maybe it's a different relationship that may have been falling apart. This album doesn't exactly seem linear. Seems like it's kind of all over the place, and it might be because we're listening to the Last of the Bugs version, and there's probably different tracks sprinkled around and whatnot, as opposed to like the traditional studio release. So yeah, that might be why. I don't know for sure though. I think I'm gonna make the speculated guess that he might be talking about his fiance here and her having to leave and go somewhere, and him just kind of like starting to fall for her. That's what this kind of feels like. This doesn't feel like the point that they're at right now. This might be him talking about the beginning of this relationship. And again, I'm really speculating here, but I think I'm right on this one. I love the line about a tornado hitting Logan. At first, I'm like, oh, is Logan a person? Like, is he just pissed off this guy named Logan? Does he just hate the Wolverine? What's the deal here? No, he's talking about Logan Airport in Boston. But the flip side of that is just 45 minutes away from Logan, there's another airport called TF Green in Providence. So you need a couple tornadoes. So I don't know, Noah. One tornado in Massachusetts, already kind of a wild thing to happen. Two of them, I think God's trying to tell us something. Anyway, so yeah, so I think he's maybe she's traveling for something and he doesn't want her to go. Obviously, he has anxiety about people leaving and being left alone. But this feels like the beginning of the relationship, and he's asking her at the end, like, are you good at being still? Are you good at staying in one place? Are you okay with being in what he considers a stagnant life, even though it's still a very bright and vivid life to him? There's depressive moments to it, but he's also just kind of a depressed guy. He's totally fine with being in one place, and he's just asking her, are you okay with this as well? Will you stay with me, or are you going to move on? And it feels like he's just trying to kind of get to know her. So this feels like the beginning of the relationship, and knowing where it's at right now, it leaves me like kind of like in a happy place, knowing that they're together and they're happy and everything. So yeah, I think she is good at staying still. She also was from that area as well. So she's like, I'm happy with going back home as well. And I miss the towns and all of that stuff and all the people around there. So she was happy to be back as well. So I really feel like this dude met his soulmate. You know, I'd love to learn more about their relationship or see them interact more together, but I'm incredibly happy for him. Her having to leave for the first time, whether it be a work trip or have to visit somebody else or whatever, and the anxiety of him being like, shit, are you going to come back? Are you going to come back? You know, or am I going to watch you become a ghost as well? But sonically, yeah, this is the most exciting one so far. We've got some off rhythm patterns. There is a shit ton of layering. The organ, again, is wide openings with the spaces. There's at least 2 or 3 different guitar tracks. There's a touch of banjo underneath all of it. The powerful vocals are incredibly present and demanding in the time. Every lyric has its place, and the melodies are spot on this one. Another one of my favorite tracks here, just from a sonic perspective, but lyrically, I think it's pretty good as well. Yeah, okay, a lot of references to Boston here, Star Drive and Charles. Cool. And then he's sleeping in his bed half empty, daydreaming that he'll be alive or they'll be back. Yeah, I think that's what it's about. I'm going to stick to my convictions on this one. I think it's about being together with his girlfriend or now fiance, and getting through their first hurdle, and maybe her seeing the beginning of some of his anxieties about all of this. But like I said, if you haven't seen the documentary, go see it. It's incredibly sweet. Well, guys, I think I'm going to break this album up into a couple different videos because I don't want it to be like a 5-hour long video, although it probably will be about 5 hours by the time I'm done with this album reaction with so many tracks and how long-winded my reactions or explanations can be from them. So I'm going to try and cut it up so it's an easy viewing experience for everybody. But I'll be back real soon with the next part of this album reaction. I won't make you guys wait too long, but I also don't want to put a time limit on myself. So I'll be back soon with it, I promise. But so far, the album is not quite what I expected. It's different. There's a couple tracks that I really enjoy. There's definitely a lot to it. There's a lot of cool layering, and it's definitely lyrically dense, like a Noah Kahan album. But it's not a true jumping off point from Styx season that I thought it was going to be, at least so far. Now, again, we still have, we're only 1/3 of the album way through at this point. We still have a lot of tracks to get through. So we could get there eventually. But so far, we are revisiting themes. We are revisiting emotional places that he was in with Styx season. It's almost like an extension of that to a certain degree. Whereas I was kind of expecting more of, all right, we rode off into the sunset and then I hit the next town and here's what happened. So far, that hasn't been delivered, but we have gotten some touching moments so far in the first 7 tracks. So I'm excited to see where we go from here. There's still an opportunity for us to tie things up and see where things have been going and how they've, moved on and where he's at right now. Because so far the storytelling is exactly like a Noah Kahan album. It's dense, it's all there, it's incredibly vivid. So we've got a lot of tracks to check out, a lot of things to get into. Like I said, I'll be back as soon as I can with the next part of this album reaction. But I hopefully you enjoyed hanging out with me for a little bit, and I'll be back soon with the next one. Bye now.